Okay, we're going to take the wear sleeve off the crankshaft, which is right here. That's the wear sleeve that comes front main seal. We need to take that off. How we're going to do that is we're going to pinch it with a chisel like this. You want to find a chisel the same width as the yeah. I'll go through and what I'm doing is I'm swelling it. Once I get it in places, it will slip right off. If you're doing this with the flywheel housing on, a lot of times you can see how that's moving now. So if I hit it a couple more times, it should slide on and off by hand. So that comes off. Now we're good to put our new one on. Big thing is to make sure you don't ding up the crankshaft when you're doing that. Any little divots here would make that where it would leak, so you want to be really careful with that you're not doing that. Okay, we're going to install our front main seal. If you look in the service manual, there's a little part number right here. Right here. Here's the two studs to bolt the tool on. This bolts to the crankshaft. This bolts, or this is the actual seal installer, and it might take an adapter like this. It depends on the year and all that type of thing. This is a bearing right here, and there's a washer that goes with it. That's real important to make sure that we get it pushed on correctly, and a nut. You notice this is a unitized type seal because the speedy seal or speedy sleeve essentially slides inside the actual seal itself. Makes a lot better sealing surface than the other type of seals do. Okay, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt this piece on the end of the crank snub itself. Run these in, and I don't tighten them. If I tighten them, it doesn't give it any wiggle room, so if it's off just a little bit, it won't pull in evenly. Usually what I do is I run them down tight and back them off, say 1/8 to 1/16 of a turn, something like that. Okay, and then there's spacers that go here. And I'm going to check out my seal and see if this adapter fits it, which it looks like it does. Sits in there nice and flush, so it's pushing on both here and the lip of the seal. If you put it in here, that doesn't fit right. So we're going to go back to the other piece. What I'm going to do is put it up here. I'm putting all my spacers in first to see, and that's obviously not deep enough. I'm going to take a washer out. This same tool works for the front and the rear. That looks like about the depth we want our seal in. So that's the stuff we need. Okay, now we're going to go and put these on dry. You don't want to put any oil or anything. If there were a big groove in the crankshaft here, I may want to put some gasket eliminator or something along those lines on there. I should be able to push it on a little bit. Put this guy on there. I'm going to go ahead and run this in with my... I've done it with an impact. This way is a little bit better because if it hangs up, you can feel it. I'm going to get it down a little ways, and then I'm going to take and put a washer on the outside of this just to make sure I don't overstroke my threads. Yeah, see, I'm almost done my threads there, so we'll go ahead and put that on there to make sure that we don't run out of threads. This has already got some anti-seize on it. Definitely something you want to do. Make sure it's got anti-seize and that type of thing. Basically, I'm going to run this down until it's tight. And my front main seal is installed. I'm going to back this off and make sure that it looks like it's correct. It looks to me like it's in far enough. When I'm done with the seal tool, I usually take the studs out. Just take the whole tool off all at once. Leaves the tool together and that type of thing. Nothing gets lost that way, hopefully. So, after I get this done, we'll go ahead and move to the back and put that one in. Now you can do the rear seal the same way. This one has the sleeve we removed earlier. It's not a unitized, but it does have a wear sleeve. It'll actually fit here. You see, it doesn't stick out as far, so I don't like that as much. So I'm going to use the adapter on this one. Use the same tool as we used on the front. Bolt the adapter on. It's probably going to take different washers and whatnot to get this right. Sometimes it's easier to slip the seal on to the tool before you put it on the crank on this part. We're not going to do that because I don't know which adapters to use yet. I got to check that first. So there again, we're going to start with our big washers again. And we decided we need the adapter ring. Let's see if that goes in. Looks about right. Kind of a bugger to get in and out. That looks about right. You always want the spring side of the seal towards what you're trying to keep in or out. So in our case, we're trying to keep oil in. There's actually a corkscrew effect that goes on inside here that actually screws the oil back in as the engine turns. So same thing as I did on the front. Make sure we have our bearing. Same thing here. Push our seal in the same exact way we did on the front. Make sure it's going nice and smooth. If I feel any rough spots, I'll stop and look, which I don't. I guess I don't have a gigantic ratchet to do this because it doesn't take a lot to get it to put in there. Okay, turn it down until it stops. ahead and take my tool off. Don't drop the thing. Okay, we're going to go ahead and install our flywheel. We've got 2 guide studs put in here, helps slide it in there, and then I'm not fighting it so much. This hole right down here, there's a special tool that will go in and lock the flywheel so you can tighten all this stuff. Or torque it without the engine turning. So I just used a cat eye to pick it up because it's kind of heavy. You have to kind of finagle it in there. Okay, so installed. This is what we call a scuff plate. This should be replaced every time. I'm not gonna this time, but if I were gonna send this out to a customer, I absolutely would. What it does is, as the bolts tighten down, they lock into it. These bolts got some, there's plenty there for what we're doing. Look up torque spec. Torque all these. Okay. Do a crisscross pattern just like a tire. Could potentially warp it if we don't. I'm going to go around once and make sure that I got them all. So I could use my electronic torque wrench or just a bar. It is 2 hexes, so basically I need to go from, well, let's see. Go somewhere I can see. From there to there. There, there, there. Usually I'd worry about getting these in line, but this one's hard enough to get to, so notice I'm going 2 flats though. One, 2 flats right there. Housing. Run that up in there. And I can run the screw up. You can kind of see what it's doing. It's going to go in and lock the teeth so I can't move. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it until it says 120. Let me get this out of the way. I can ratchet again and it'll keep track. I was at 47 degrees. Now I'm at 83. So I went to 121 on that one, so I went a little past. So my marks line up. Okay. Okay, we'll reset it. Okay, there I'm at 120. Did I do that one? I did that one. Set it again. Look at all your marks. Now they're all lined up with the marks I made. Don't forget to take the turning tool out of the bottom of the flywheel housing. The engine kind of locks up if you don't. So there you can kind of see what it is. Just a screw and a... Okay, I'm going to go ahead and install my vibration dampener. I brought this over here with a crane so you can see what I'm doing. Slip that up in there. Crank pulley goes up on top of it. Put some guide studs in there to help hold it. I also have my bolts in the flywheel housing, or my folding tool, the same one I used for the says to put some international compound on the bolts, which I've already done. The same for the rear bolts. There's only 6 on this one, and it torques 134 to 155. So I'm going to go to 134 because I lubed them. Okay. I'm just going to buzz these down quick. So they're in place. I'm going to torque them. Could torque it with the impact, but I don't trust that. That's a pretty heavy piece to come flying off of there. Another thing to look for on the dampener, see how some of the paint's missing off this one? That's enough to justify replacing it. This one's just from installation removal. It's been dinged up, that type of thing, and it doesn't get run very much, but I would normally replace this one due to that scratching, but you want to look for dings, nicks, burrs, any of that kind of stuff, because like I say, if it's dinged up it'll vibrate, won't work correctly. Okay. 150. Oh yeah, 155, because I did them dry. I'm sorry, I should have put stuff on them. Okay, and it says to go in a clockwise pattern on this one. I should be pushing down, but where I got the camera I can't. Nice smooth motion to do this. I'm just going to double check.